said something, and then I responded by saying something,
Oh.
and then your response was something to the effect of, it's time for you to leave, get ready for it. And then, just yesterday, what you're doing is you're telling me, about sort of hinting at, how I don't want to live here forever, so, so on and so forth. And I can't help but wonder if the two things are connected.
Oh, I'm glad you're reading this, because I don't want you to have to carry that terrible, but no, absolutely not. That comment is, ridiculous comment in the heat of a angry moment, so that has absolutely no basis. No, and I wouldn't be doing any hinting. I don't believe that. I don't feel that. So, no, you should feel very secure. Don't get spooked by that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just still kind of suspicious in a way, because you, when you said it, your tone of voice sounded kind of like confident, and I said something like, you can't be running away, or so on and so forth. And then he said, no, it has nothing to do with running away, and he seemed to be in a completely calm state of mind when he said it, and so, and then I think about that and the whole thing in 2007 that I talked about. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Right. So I factor that in, and I just sometimes I wonder if it's in some ways your skill and your forte, of like, sort of, alluding to stuff and then somehow making it happen, making it unfold in the way that you want. Because that stuff that you said in 2007, it created a psychological effect on me, which sort of led to me basically not trusting you, and which led to all kinds of other problems, which I'd like to think I'm now just recovering from, but maybe it's just I'm back to square one, and maybe that has nothing to do with recovery at all. So that's just very confusing.
Tell me again what you're referencing in terms of the 2000, because I may not be thinking of the right thing. I just woke up here and sort of I'm out of it. Just tell me again, because I don't want to confuse what you're saying.
Okay. Well, I sensed intuitively that something was up, and at one point I had an outburst, and I said to you, something to the effect of, you only care about yourself, right? Or don't you, something like that. And then you responded in a completely calm tone of voice. Yeah, that's basically all you said. You were just completely calm. There was no sign on your expression of like trying to get back at me or trying to be vengeful, or because you were upset that I was, raising my voice. And just to be sure that you didn't say it in an agitated state, or that you didn't admit to that in an agitated state, whatever, I asked you two more times, or I alluded to it two more times to give you opportunities to retract that statement if you wanted to. And the difference is that in those two times, I know I did at least once more. I don't remember what the second time was, but I remember it being two more times. And difference is that when I brought it up again, I was not raising my voice at that point anymore. I alluded to it again and talked about it in a sort of calm tone of voice. And then you made no attempts to retract the statement. I said something like, I made an aside in the course of conversation, like, as you've, something to the effect of, like, as you've, admitted yourself, you only care about yourself, and then you were like, yeah, and I carried on with the conversation, and so you not making any attempts to retract that statement messed me up even more. And it was then this all was happening around the time that Margita started making these very big claims about you, very big accusations about you. And so that just made me all the more susceptible to her mentality, and I sort of lost track of who's who, right?
Of course.
And I would be fine with writing off that 4-year period, or 5-year period. I'm not good with math. As just being one big, or 4-year period, I guess you could say too, whatever. But I'm fine with writing it off as being just one big sort of bump in the road, or momentary aberration, whatever. But if I'm starting to get, if it's an issue that hasn't been resolved and hasn't been resolved, then I'm just making it up that it's been resolved. And if on top of that, new stuff is coming up, like the day before you leave on your week vacation,